Hi everyone, it's Andrea at Movers and Bakers. If you're a fan of tiramisu, you are going to love my cookies today. Tiramisu cookies, they are coffee cookie with a beautiful mascarpone icing on top, and of course the obligatory cocoa powder. Absolutely beautiful. Stick around, let's get baking. So to start with, I'm going to get my butter and sugar in my bowl and mix them up. So I will put all the quantities for these ingredients in the link below this recipe. You can follow them. And whilst I'm getting my ingredients in my bowl, I just want to remind you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you always hear every time I release a new video for you. And brown sugar. Now, for my cookies, I can sometimes use a mix of brown and white sugar depending on the cookie. Because I'm making a coffee flavoured cookie today, I am going to use completely brown sugar and no white at all. I just think that gives it a lovely caramelly, beautiful flavour and really enhances the coffee flavour of this cookie. So my butter and sugar in my bowl, I'm going to give them a quick mix together just to combine them, not to make them fluffy at all. So you want to mix it until it's only just combined. There we go, quick mix done. That's my butter and sugar completely combined. To that, I am going to add 1 egg. And normally in my cookies, I would put vanilla in. But because this is going to be a coffee-based cookie, instead I'm going to put, and because it's tiramisu specifically, I'm going to put some Kahlua in instead. Now you can absolutely skip this step, or you can put vanilla in if you prefer. That is completely up to you. But I really like for me, it gives it a bit more authenticity of tiramisu having a bit of Kahlua in. But like I said, this is absolutely optional. You can just stick with vanilla if that's what you want to do. So 1 teaspoon of this is going in. Ooh, maybe a bit more than 1 teaspoon. There we go, that's my Kahlua done. So to mix this up, again, only just until combined. Now don't worry if it looks a little bit almost curdled at this stage. It will completely be fine once you put your dry ingredients in. So that's all the wet ingredients for now. Now I'm going to sift all my dry ingredients in. So sieve on. My first ingredient is plain flour. And to that, as I do with all my cookies, I'm going to put a bit of baking powder, bicarbonate of soda, salt, corn flour. Now for me, the corn flour is what always makes my cookies really chewy in the middle, but lets them get crisp on the edge. It's what keeps the middle of it really nice and soft. So this goes into every single cookie recipe that I make if I want it to be chewy and beautiful. Right, I'm gonna sift all of that in. I love this cookie. I'm slightly tiramisu mad, coffee mad. If you haven't checked it out yet, don't forget to check out my super easy tiramisu recipe. It is so good, and everyone who has tried it has loved it, so I'm sure you will too. But I'm also slightly cookie obsessed, so coming up with a coffee, tiramisu and cookie recipe had to happen with me. So that's all my ingredients there sifted in. The last one that I have is some espresso powder. I'm just going to pop that straight in and mix it up together until it's completely combined. There we go, all done. So all that's left now is to shape my cookie into the balls that they're going to go in the fridge and then chill in the fridge for a little while. Now, I always like to chill my cookies before I bake them. I just find that that helps them toward being really chewy. It's a really important step. If you don't chill them, you will actually find that your cookies will spread a bit more. So chilling them helps them not spread out as much, which then helps keep them chewy and lovely as well. So you can absolutely cook them sooner if you want to, but you won't get the same chewiness that you would if you've chilled your cookie dough for a few hours. And that is my cookie dough all ready to be portioned up to go in the fridge. So I have here a tray. You can use a bit of parchment paper, you can use whatever you want on your tray, and I have an ice cream scoop, my trusty ice cream scoop. If you've seen my other videos, you'll know that this is my favorite tool because it gives me very even cookies every time I make cookies, but you can absolutely use 2 teaspoons, 2 tablespoons, depending on the size of cookies that you want to make. I just really like this. I find it makes perfectly sized cookies and it makes my life really easy because I know that they're all going to be the same size, which is perfect for me. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab scoopfuls off it and just pop it on my tray, and then my tray is going to go in the fridge. and I will leave it there. So I would normally do this part of making the cookie dough. I would normally do it the evening before I want to make the cookies properly, or in the morning and I'm baking them in the evening or the afternoon. And then I just know that they've had enough time to chill out in the fridge and to firm up a little bit before I bake them. So once these have chilled out in my fridge for a few hours or overnight, I will then preheat my oven to 160, and I will pop these on a tray and bake them. It can take anything between 8 to 10 minutes, sometimes 12 depending on your oven, but I find that mine cook within about 9 minutes. You're looking, as always, for a crinkle to happen on the top all the way to the middle of your cookies. You want to take it out as soon as the center of the cookie starts to crack in your oven. And that will mean that the middle will keep cooking as you take it out, but it will keep that chewiness that we love for cookies. And that's all you have to do. So I'm going to finish putting these on here and pop them in the fridge, and I will see you very soon with my freshly made cookies from the oven. Alright, so my cookies are done. They are out of the oven and they have cooled sufficiently that I can decorate them now. So it's time to make our mascarpone icing. So in my large bowl, I am going to put some double cream. Now you could put all your ingredients in and just whip them all up together, but I actually find I get a firmer texture of icing if I whip up my double cream just a little bit before I add my cream cheese in my mascarpone. I'm going to give that a very quick whisk up just to stiffen it slightly. So you want to whip it until it just starts to thicken up, so you can see that it's just started to get thick, and that's all I want for now. Now to that I'm going to add my icing sugar. Get a cloud in there as well. I'm going to add a teaspoon of Kahlua again into this. Now this is totally optional. You can put some vanilla in if you prefer, but I'm using Kahlua because it's tiramisu and why not? And my last ingredient to go in is, of course, my mascarpone. You couldn't have tiramisu without the mascarpone. Now, mascarpone, I have found when I have made this icing that I have to loosen the mascarpone up before I put it in there. Otherwise there's a risk of it splitting, and then you have to just chuck your whole icing and start all over again. So all I'm going to do with my spatula is I'm just going to soften the mascarpone in this bowl before I put it in there and mix it all up together. So this is pretty stiff, as you can see, but you just want to loosen it up enough that it will mix easily once you put it in with your other ingredients. So I've just loosened it, that's all I've done, and now I'm just going to pop it in with the rest of my ingredients. Now with mascarpone, I have found, and with cream cheese in general, if you're making an icing or frosting from it, there is a risk of you over mixing it and then it ends up splitting and you end up with this curdled, horrible looking kind of mess. So my tip for you when you're making any kind of cream cheese icing or frosting is to mix it as little as you can. Now I find that this happens especially more so using mascarpone rather than cream cheese. So I'm going to mix this as little as I can to get it into a thick icing that I can use and pipe on my cookies. There you go, it's completely mixed up. I'm just going to use my spatula to get the last bits off and make sure all my cream cheese, all my mascarpone, and all my icing sugar and everything is really well combined. But my hand whisk has just helped me do the vast majority of the work to make it easier on my arms. So just giving it a quick move around the bowl just to make sure that it's all really well combined, but it's a really, really thick, as you can see, a really thick icing to go on the cookies. Now you can obviously use this if you wanted to as an icing for cupcakes as well, or anything else, but I'm obviously today doing it on my cookies. There we go, I'm happy with that. So now this is all ready, you can absolutely just spoon it straight onto your cookies and then put some cocoa powder on and you're good. But because it's me, I'm going to be putting it in a piping bag and piping it on instead. So just pop it in your piping bag and then squeeze it down to the bottom. Now today I'm going to be using a round tip. As you can see, you can use a star if you want. You can see the icing is quite stiff, so it will hold its shape if you wanted to do more of like a cupcake swirl using a star-shaped nozzle, whatever you fancy really. So that's my icing all ready to go. So all I'm going to do with my cookies, and you can decorate these however you want, I'm just going to do a very simple swirl because I think that classic is best and simple it is. And then all you have to do to finish your cookies off, as you always have with tiramisu, is a little bit of cocoa powder. Now I'm just using a sieve just to get a nice even spread of the cocoa powder, but you can absolutely just chuck it on by hand if that's what you want to do as well. I like a really generous amount of cocoa just because I think that's a part of the whole tiramisu experience. So you can put as little or as much as you want on. There we go, all done. And those are my tiramisu cookies. Now these, because they have a mascarpone icing, they will need to be eaten as soon as you, or very soon after decorating them. And the icing will need to be kept in the fridge if you are not using it immediately. These are very good, they will not hang around long, but once you have iced them, you do need to eat these cookies because the icing will absorb into the cookies and they will just go moist and soggy and not very nice. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Do let me know if you make them, comment below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel to hear every time I publish a new video for you. Thanks for joining me today. I shall see you next time. Happy baking, friends.